Good evening. Let me change this real quick. Hold on. I forgot about that. Let's go to that right there.
Are we in the right place? Are we in the right place?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're in the right place. Yep. Hold on one second. I think we got it. Okay. Yeah, it's a little slow because I have a lot of screens open.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, welcome to the debate night here on the PTP podcast. Right. I'll give you the old golf clap. um, Warrior in the Garden and Salty Nuts. I didn't tell you guys we were starting at 5:30 because I figured you guys have things to do, so we wait till 6:00. But I'm glad you guys are here. CNN just started their 30-minute countdown. Oh my God, my voice just shot real quick. So we figured we hang out, let people come in the chat, talk bullshit.
Wait a
for a little
second.
bit.
They can count that high?
Yeah, there's a timer on the screen. Yeah. See,
somebody got outsourced there. That's the only thing I can say.
If you'll see it come up right here. There's a timer on the screen. Right there.
That's why they partnered with Fox News. They needed to go to Fox News to learn how to count.
Yeah, pretty much. So we'll add that to the chat. We'll add that to the thing when the debate starts to come on. Anyway, let me say hello to some people in the Foxhole chat. I don't have anybody up on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get taken down on YouTube, so I'm not worried about it. But White Wings, welcome. Wood Geek is here. Spaz is here. Puddin' Hollow. Oh, hold on. Who else is here? Let's add Warrior to the Garden to the mix. Slanty Chauffeur Bear is here. I saw Light Spear. There's Light Spear. And anybody that I missed, hello.
I wouldn't expect
there's Warrior in the Garden.
Hola.
Like BrainPod said, everybody and their grandmother's streaming this tonight or watching it or something.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing too. I think that's freaking awesome because this is what I'm talking about. When I say we need to unite our voices, stuff like this. When CNN says, hey, don't retream the debate because it'll hurt our feelings terribly, we all need to just rise up in mass and just restream that garbage everywhere. Everything they tell us not to do, we need to get in their face and scream, shut up, we're doing it anyway. Be ungovernable. Yeah. That's the secret to all of it. Be ungovernable because we were meant to govern ourselves.
Whoa. What the hell happened?
What'd you do?
Something happened. Hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, remember he said he's got a lot of things running.
He's going to have to hit it with a hammer. And by the way, Spaz, I already had that site open myself too.
Yeah, I didn't even know it existed.
What the hell did I do? Oh, that's right. I clicked the wrong thing. My bad. Nah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, yeah, Warrior in the Garden says he needs a minute. Mayor is here. Yeah, so we're going to have a good time tonight. I think like you said, everybody and their mother is streaming this thing. So it on Pilled, it may lag a little bit. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but there's a lot of speculation on Joe Biden's ability tonight. Him being able to stand up for 90 minutes is a huge question. So
well, they also announced that they're running on a 2-minute time delay, so they can edit out all of his gaffes before we get to see him.
Well, I think that's a crock of shit because then you're not well, the rules the way that they are now are not going to portray him in any bad of a light, because they're all going to cater to him. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, but the best part
That's
is
unfortunate.
America's going to see it. It's going to backfire on them.
Here's-
That's the part I love. I hope they abuse the hell out of Trump tonight because it's backfiring on them. Everything they're doing is backfiring.
I don't think.
Well, yeah,
I don't
I
think the
believe it
Orange
is.
Man needs to debate. I don't think the Orange Man needs to debate. It's
No.
all up to Joe.
I don't either. I don't think he needs to debate either.
If he just
But I think he's doing it.
about presidential stuff. If he's just staying on point.
I
Well,
hope he
here's the
does.
thing about it is
Yeah.
debates are more about optics than they are about policy or points. So that's the whole issue here.
Very true.
And honestly, I believe that.
I think that's why he's doing it.
Yeah, I
I
think
think he's doing
President
it so it
Trump.
exposes Joe.
Yeah, President Trump could just stare at Biden like he just shit his pants, which he probably will, and just make that sour look and stare at him, and that would be enough to accomplish it right there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna see.
We're gonna see.
Real
I mean, don't expect CNN or any other news outlet to give Trump any props on anything, but the American
no.
people are gonna. Oops. My cane fell.
even
The American
even
people
Alex Jones
are gonna
is doing
see what's happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the more they
So
play
let's,
the mic cutoff game and all that garbage that they're planning on doing, just like they did to his rep the other day on the interview, the more they do that, the more they hemorrhage viewers. The more they switch votes to Trump. And God bless them for it. We don't have any better people on. We don't have any better people on our team than the people not on our team.
Right. Well,
Oh, look, it's
what's
Mr.
up,
Gardner.
Warrior?
Hey guys, I'm here. Hello, hi,
Are
hi,
you-
hi.
Are
There
you
you
here?
are. Did you
Yeah,
get your
I'm here.
audio stuff straightened out this morning?
I did. I had a lot of help from a lot of people out there. A lot more than I thought would show up to my stream, including you, Pete. I didn't expect you to show up. I
Yeah.
thought you'd be busy resting and stuff like that for the night. But I did, and I'm going to take a chance on it this Sunday. Especially, I'm more concerned about it on Sundays because of my movies. But I do have Prism backup just in case if I get a half an hour into the movie, whatever, and people are like, oh, the sound is real low and then I'll stop the stream and I'll boot up Prism and I'll start the stream over again from there. So, but I'm just looking for, like, I like the simplicity of StreamYard, like what you use. That's where I'm still paying for it, but
Yes.
I want to do more. I want to be able to add more to
Very
it, and it's
easy.
because I like it because it's very easy, and just like when you send me a link, all I do is I click on something, and all of a sudden, boom, it takes me to the screen I need to be at, and then I hit enter the lobby, and I'm in, and which is really good if especially when I have guests and people who want to come in and say hi or whatever, then it's a lot easier for me to connect with individuals. So, but I also do want to learn
Good.
Prism / OBS in the background. It's just I don't want to dedicate a lot of time to it right now. And knowing me, I'll be very, very thorough, which means 5-6 hours straight as learning something.
Yeah, see, I can't do
And
that. I tried.
I just can't right now. I just can't dedicate enough time, that big of a time block, to one thing in my life right now because I just got too much stuff going on. So I think Restream
I found
for 20.
StreamYard to be the easiest platform for me to use.
It's Restream is very, very, very similar. Very, very similar. A lot of the same setup and stuff like that. There's just more production stuff you can do in the background to better
If you
better
need
facilitate your stream.
if you need some help with Restream, it's what I've been using this whole time. So anything I can help with, I will.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you. Energy, INNG, INNRG. He also uses Restream when he does his stuff, and
Yeah.
he said the same thing. So I've got a couple of sources, but I do appreciate it. I'm just trying to, I don't charge anything for my streams or anything that I do, and those that subscribe to me, I make things for them, actual physical items. I mean, Spaz knows, right? And Pete,
Yeah.
I've sent both you guys things I've made. And I for me personally, I think people's time here, them because they have a million other places they can be, but they choose to be in whatever
Hold
stream
on.
they are.
Hold on
you know
a
what I'm saying?
second. You send stuff to Pete and to
Don't worry.
Spaz,
Don't
but
worry.
not
I got.
to me. Not to me. Is this?
I-
Hold on a second. Is this a chocolate milk issue?
Yeah, this is. I am straight up Ovaltine team Ovaltine here. Okay.
No, chocolate
So
milk.
you
Chocolate
pick
milk.
No, it's team Ovaltine all the
No,
way.
chocolate milk. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It's less filling.
I got mine sitting right by the
It
front
tastes great.
door. It stays there, so I know where it's at.
Yep, exactly. So, hi, Spear, how you
Absolutely.
doing? Everybody in the chat, how you doing? Zombie 5, Mayor, everybody out there. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes, welcome to
But
everybody.
yeah,
So Warrior
So,
and I were talking.
I
Thank
will.
you for choosing us
Rev,
to
I
be
will
here.
get you something. I will make you something. But I do have a list of now 4 other people that I have to do things for, because they subscribe to my channel, and I want to get them a gift.
Oh.
So then that's how I do it. When
Yeah.
people who want to subscribe to my stuff, I want to give them something physical, tangible that they can hold on to, not just a paywall. It's just me personally.
Right.
That's cool.
But when I do have other people on my list, and you are on that list. You are. I just need to get through other things first.
Thank you, Sean Joe.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Excuse
that's
me.
cool. Thank you for the cookie, Sean Joe. And I think Vanita sent me a cookie also, so thank you very much. 19 minutes. 19 minutes. I sent the invitation to Salty, but I don't know if he's still hanging with Zoso or not. If they're
No,
gonna be on
Zoso. No, Zoso is actually on his way to Old Faithful in Yellowstone. He said he had about a 7 or 8 hour drive in front of him, and so he was trying to leave early enough to get there by nightfall.
Yeah, because I saw
And,
him
but
on your show this morning.
hold on. Somebody
Yeah.
said that when the world comes apart, it's going to start at Yellowstone. Didn't somebody tell him that? The world's going to
Like,
end starting at
giant
Yellowstone.
volcano there or something. I don't know.
Right.
I read it in a
You're
book.
little.
And the
No.
devil and the devil's going to get your soul, and Pete's going to bring his own personal
That's right.
aliens.
Right, because less than 3 hours away, you've got Devil's Tower away from. So it makes total sense,
And you have
Absolutely.
to go back across the country to get back to
Exactly.
Hell's Gate. How are we going to go to hell in a handbasket if you got to drive so far to get to Hell's Gate so that we can go to
It's
hell?
a big basket, man. That's a huge
Man.
basket. Is it wicker? Is it woven? Is it
It's a
is it
huge
plastic?
basket.
I don't know.
I think the new one is woven recycled plastic. Hey, maybe they could weave one together.
It's friendly.
out of
It's
recycled
environmentally friendly.
needles. Yeah.
You know what? If plastic naturally floats out there in the ocean,
Yeah.
why don't they
Giant
make
island
boats
of
out
it.
of it?
You right?
Well, that's just, there's probably a monopoly on the fiberglass industry, most likely.
The Caldera.
They
Well,
say
I
there's.
I
like
do
a
want to
whole
announce. I
resin
do want to announce that
thing out
no
there.
sea turtles or dolphins were hurt in the making of this podcast.
There you go. Yeah, we don't mind, messing up human beings, but God forbid we hurt a turtle.
Oh God, not the turtles.
Yeah, no turtle.
Anything
I
but
I
your
break for
turtles.
turtles. Anytime I see a turtle, I
Yeah.
stop in the middle of the road, put my flashers on.
Bro,
You
you
know.
know how many times I'm in Florida? You know how many we have the Florida tortoise, which does
Take
not
you 4
give
hours
a
to get to town.
shit about traffic. And then we got all the other turtles too. We got the box turtles, we got the yellow belly sliders, the red-eared sliders, the yellow-eared sliders, the soft shells, the snapping turtles, the alligator snapping turtles. I think we got somewhere around 2 million species of turtle.
There was just
That's
the
a lot of
oldest
turtles.
the oldest turtle that ever lived is just had a birthday. Jonathan the tortoise hatched in 1832.
How old?
Is
that a Galapagos turtles?
191.
Wow, 1832.
I thought you were going to say something about
Jeez.
one of our Congress members.
That turtle lived through
Well-
the Civil War.
Probably be doing better in Congress, honestly.
Yeah, that turtle was already 30 years old by the time it hit the Civil War. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Think about
that's
it.
right. He could have fought the Civil War.
He is
Who
the
knows,
oldest known
he was-
living land.
He was already telling when I was your age stories.
Yeah, he is the original OG when it comes to tortoise and the hare story.
There you go. When I was your
right.
age, we were
invented
racing
that
hares and we were winning. And we were going backwards, uphill, barefooted every day, and we were grateful.
And we didn't have grass; it was all gravel.
That's right.
Everything was just gravel. Everything gravel.
Dirt roads. Damn it.
Dirt roads, gravel, hot sand, and fire ants. It's just everywhere. It was an apocalypse, I tell you.
So yeah, we didn't
That's right.
hurt any turtles here.
No, we do not hurt turtles. I love turtles. My girlfriend is obsessed with turtles. So whenever I take the Raptors to go to the park and she goes with me, we walk around. There's a lake next to the dog park, and we walk around the lake. It's about a mile.
Like that.
And as we're walking, she'll count all the turtles that she sees along the way. And I'm thinking, I'm dating a child. This is, I mean, she's got two masters and a bachelor, and I'm like, this woman is way too smart to be counting turtles for fun. But that's that's what she likes to do, man.
That's okay. Though.
That's funny. I've got
what
my
she likes. That's what she likes.
I just tonight reason why I was late is because I found a new place to podcast. I found like probably a couple different shows that I can do at a coffee shop that my neighbor is running. So, who knows? You guys might find me playing some kind of Star Wars game for 2.5 hours or whatever, and or interviewing people live in a coffee shop. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because nobody else is doing it in Foxville, right?
Well,
nobody else is playing. They're playing video games, but they're not playing tabletop. Actual, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Oh, I missed on all
not those
hits.
kind of games.
Yeah. Where you have little templates where you move action figures around, and you have to think of the strategy and everything else. Oh yeah. I'm guys. Yeah, I'm a big fucking nerd. I'm a huge nerd.
Grand Max says she likes to count American flags when she's driving.
That's cool. I used to do that.
Yeah, that's a.
I think that's not actually too bad of a thing. If your girlfriend starts doing the count from Sesame Street as she's counting,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Or she goes 1.
Then I'll start to worry. Yeah, especially if it's
That's
deeper
what I
than
was
her
just
voice.
thinking.
So they're playing January 6th footage 15 minutes before the debate.
Oh yeah. Hey, did you listen to? Have any of you listened to that Carvel guy? Have you listened to any of his rants?
That guy's out of his mind.
Not lately, but used to years ago.
Dude, the last one, like he unloaded on the Democrats. He's like, you guys are trying to use J6 and claim it's this and claim it's that. It's not working. It's backfiring. You're taking the worst path possible. Stop. We're losing everything because this is probably one of the most rankest, nastiest leftist Democrats that you could ever meet in the pundit world. And he's dressing down. Cajun. Yeah, he's dressing Cajun, down. Yeah.
I mean, for a long time, you're right, Rev. For a long time, he was the Democratic pundit. He was like the go-to guy in the Democratic Party for strategy and shit. And then, was it his wife that died on 9/11? I think if I remember right, it was one of the prominent
I don't
Democrats'
know about that.
wife went down in somewhere in Pennsylvania or the Pentagon or something like that. So, and I think it was Raging Cajun. But I
Yeah.
mean, I liked when I was growing up. You know, like late '90s when I was in high school and shit. When the parents would be watching Fox News when it first came out, the Raging Cajun was always on there, and I loved listening to him because he was crazy. First of all, like he was just yelling, and I just
Oh,
liked
yeah.
his theatrics more than anything. It was a lot of fun, and back then he had hair, and he didn't look like a wrinkled up lollipop anymore. I mean, he was actually looked like a real person. Now he just looks like ET.
The bee lady over on Bill says, I'm not sure I can make it through the debate. Biden drives me crazy. Well, we're going to see what happens. Yeah, because he's going to drive a lot of people crazy.
Yep, B lady, I'm right there with you. That's why I am.
Yes, the
I've
bee
got
lady.
my beverage. I have a beverage right here, so just to keep me calm, really, keep me in good spirits.
We're not playing the Joe Biden bingo card or something.
Well, I would die.
Oh,
I
God.
would probably kill myself accidentally.
If we
Well,
turned
what
this
happened?
into a drinking game and we had to do shots every time Biden gaffed, we wouldn't make it.
I think we get through a
Holy
dirty
shit.
30 easily.
Yeah, we were.
A 30-30.
And I don't
We're going to be
drink.
drunk
So
in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. I saw around Pilled people
Me
were
neither.
putting up the bingo cards, and the same way on X as well today. I saw that. I'm like, oh wow, people are here for the entertainment. Okay,
Oh,
excellent.
man.
So that they most of the people get it now. All right.
What was the center one again? The free space. Was it like falling down or something?
Shuffling.
I don't
It
know
could be
how
just
he's
like
gonna-
he's not walking. He just shuffles
Yeah, shuffling was over on the right.
like Mr. Burns.
I don't know how he's going to
Excellent.
stand for 90
You know
minutes.
you know that rap song every day I'm hustling.
Yep.
Yeah. We need to do a Biden version every day. I'm shuffling.
Every day I'm shuffling.
I think there might be already.
I think I just crapped my pants.
Are they
My
outside?
butt's
You're
been
an
wide.
action impression.
They're outside. But who's outside? I heard there's like no reporters allowed in there at all.
What? That's weird.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they have to watch from like an adjacent building because there might be some kind of medical whatever.
So
something.
okay. I have a question. I have a
gives a
question. With so maybe Rev, you might be able to answer this question, or maybe anybody in the chat here too. The gag order. I saw that it was some portions of it was like released, I guess, and that's a man right there. The girl in the yellow dress. That's a man. Look at the clavicle. Okay, even Trump would know what a man clavicle feels like. Okay, and look at that. I know it was a good question because I answered it. Whoa! Told you, dude. I'm on fire tonight, man. I'm on fire.
Clavicle.
Yep.
I need some water. Hold on.
Mm. Water always helps. Today I had lots of cold waters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you take a cold water, you take a knife and poke a little hole in the end, you can just like, without drenching yourself.
There you go. That sounds good.
Make it a little squirt bottle, wash your hands.
8 minutes. Yeah, there were a lot of people streaming this.
Everybody.
A lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. CNN thought they were going to lay down the law and tell everybody what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do. And it turns out nobody gives a shit what CNN says.
So I also
Yeah,
heard
not
there's
really.
like supposed to be a 2-minute delay.
Yep. So that they can edit everything twice.
So
But they're going to be editing it in real time.
yeah, like a football
That's
game.
kind of weird. Yeah.
Well, the thing to look for is watch for, just like when you're watching a TV show, you see those edit points. You see those,
Yeah.
where the scene changes, little hiccups, the little jumps in the matrix.
Yes.
Yep.
I'll be looking.
And also understand that if it says CNN on it, it's full of shit.
Yeah, right. Always,
Pretty
always.
much.
If Smoky Randy is out there, I'm drinking out of a normal ball wide mouth mason jar, so that the oversized quart one that you don't like so much. I don't know how they drink beer in Australia, but here in America, I prefer my beer out of a quart or a liter. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Pint's too
Yeah.
small.
Here we drink our beer out of a quart, and by beer I mean moonshine.
Yeah. See, you get it. Yeah.
Same difference.
Right. Who knows? Maybe I'm drinking moonshine right here, and I'm drinking tea out of this glass, huh?
It could be. It very well could be.
Yeah. If I had a distill in my backyard, I would not be coherent.
Mm.
It'd probably be.
Well, you can have one,
this-
can't you?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, it'd be pretty easy for me to do it. I could make my own small batch moonshine, but I've got too much on my plate right now.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah.
I have too much on my plate. And plus I've never done it before. So
If you do,
Squeeze
If you
apricot
do-
seeds in it.
hold on. If you do make
Yeah.
moonshine, if you do want to try it, call me first.
okay, all right, yeah, I know some good old boys here from in the Boot Hill of Southern Missouri, and
No, call me.
I'm not sure if I want to, but I think it'd be pretty easy to do. To be honest,
You know the kind of brandy that you would expect to pay $250 a bottle for?
yeah.
Yeah, that's me. I have it down to a science. I mean, it runs in my family. It's not something that I do regularly, but I got a whole family history of that. I
Hey,
grew up
Sabo.
with it. I can tell you how to
Right now.
make. I can tell you how to make the stuff that tastes hot in your mouth, not the stuff that burns like rubbing alcohol. A lot of these people, a lot of
pay
these
good
people
money for
think
that
they're-
here.
yeah, a lot of these people think they're doing something. Oh, I'm making corn moonshine and it tastes like grain alcohol. It stripped the taste buds out of your mouth.
There's
There's a secret to it.
There's a here
Countdowns.
before they did two of these bacon and bourbon festivals before before the COVID hit, for the lockdowns, and my ex-wife and I went to both of them. And I tell you what, they there's this one place called the Wooden Hat, and it is by far some of the
like 2 minutes
harshest
behind.
bourbon and whiskey I've ever had in my life. But then they have there's Dogmaster's not even and is got sold out, but they had a lot of
2 minutes.
micro distilleries. They had
Yeah, what's
there's
up?
one from Macon, Iowa, which is about 45 minutes north of me. The smoothest small batch home recipe that I have, and it was 90 proof that I have ever tasted in my entire life, and it was so smooth, it was dangerous. But yeah, if I decide to get into that, I probably won't live stream that. We'll just say
Yeah, no, don't live stream it.
Just for safety reasons. Yeah.
for safety purposes only.
I,
yeah.
I make
That's right.
I make in Minecraft. I make Grandpa's cough medicine. It's 180 right out the door.
See, that's the stuff that I would be interested in trying, because I don't think I would blow myself up trying to make that. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's actually really easy. It's just you have to have patience. That's the secret to the whole thing, is have patience, take your time. The longer you can take to accomplish it, the better it's going to be.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
How do we know how many people are watching this?
Well, we have 29
They'll
here
tell
right
us
now
if they
People watching
never
the
lie.
Yeah, like their stream.
on CNN.
I know.
Who knows?
Yeah. Who
They'll
knows?
tell us. It was the most amazing stream ever.
Right. Well, let's see here. Who is going to be broadcasting this? There's going to be Badlands, which is 191. We've got Red Dawn is going to be broadcasting it. Red Pill, he's got 223. Belushi's on, and he's going to be doing it. He's at 20. Let's see here. Q&A Hole has 49. And Drunk Pinata has 118. Table of Titans 129. Let's see who else here. True Reporting 116. Whiskey Capital podcast has 14 people, but I saw their bingo card out. And Omazon has 89. Season Pixels has 103. Woke Society has 522. I'm assuming InfoWars is going to be playing it as well.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a lot of
definitely.
people.
They went
126 there. Studio 8424 is at 124, which is a lot more than they usually have. Sloan TV or Speech 166, Sloan TV 270, and that's all the big channels right there. So
Yeah. That's why it may be lagging a little bit on Pill. That's a lot of people streaming a lot of stuff. So that's okay. I'm happy what we have. All my friends are here.
Yes.
Let's
that's right.
We got 1 minute. Let's get the volume up on this thing.
My gosh.
Are we going to waste time watching him stumble out?
Oh.
I thought
It reminds me of I got you $1. I'm sorry, Spaz. I overtalked you.
It's okay. Don't they have to clear the room and seal the hatch? You know what I mean?
Air pressure,
right? Keep everybody out.
Is there any American flags there?
No.
Yeah, I didn't see any.
They don't like Americans.
So it's a shame we can't have live chat in there or something. That'd be a good question to ask.
Right on time.
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground state in the race for the White House.
Sound okay?
In just a moment, the current U.S. president will debate the former U.S. president as their party's presumptive nominees, a first in American history. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world to our studios in Atlanta. This is the CNN presidential debate.
This debate is being produced by CNN and is coming to you live on CNN, CNN International, CNN.com, CNN Max, and CNN Espanol. This is a pivotal moment between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in their rematch for the nation's highest office. Each will make his case to the American people with just over 4 months until Election Day. Good evening, I'm Dana Bash, anchor of CNN's Inside Politics and co-anchor of State of the Union.
I'm Jake Tapper, anchor of CNN's The Lead and co-anchor of State of the Union. Dana and I will moderate this evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the two candidates tonight. Before we introduce them, we want to share the rules of the debate with the audience.
Yeah, Jake Tapper is Trump derangement syndrome and an absolute liar. Dana Bash's husband was part of the Russia hoax and the Hunter laptop.
The anti-Hunter laptop
laptop
theme.
Follow-up clarification or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on and his opponent's microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes, props, or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate both candidates and their campaigns.
What did Biden do for the last 11 days?
Now, please welcome the 46th president of the United States.
Good question.
6-year-olds. That's what he did.
Ooh, that's even worse.
And please welcome the 45th president of the United States, Donald Trump.
I'm still shocked that it's happening.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Can Can you bring the volume up a little
Gentlemen,
bit on
thanks so
this?
much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%.
More than that.
What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious.
Oh,
Just
he's
inject a little
wired.
bleach
Look at
in your
him.
arm. You'll be all right.
Look
Economy
at his
collapsed.
eyes. They're bloodshot.
Yeah.
Jobs. Unemployment rate rose
Look
to
at his pupils.
15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out in a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, but there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come from a household where the kitchen table, things weren't able to be met during the month. It was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination that I was left with in corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now.
Jeez.
In addition to that,
He's
we're in a
rattling.
situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400.
Oh, he's losing already.
No,
He's
see,
already losing it.
Has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. In a situation,
Like
and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans.
I think they
So we're working
overwired
down
him.
the price.
History of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody
What happened?
was amazed by it. Other countries were
They chopped it.
copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression. We should have is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country, but other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, the fact of the matter is that we find ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant. And the military, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt. Well, so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done. We've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country. And I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a four-year period, number one. Number two, he got $2 trillion tax cut, benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say.
Not even close.
We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Well, he's right.
Not even 5 minutes in.
And he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Tana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump,
Oh, this is going to
you
be
take
good.
credit
This
for
is
the
going to be good.
decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex, but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, and getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected,
Look at
wanted
Biden. Look
it
at
brought
Biden.
back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal.
He looks
than you would have
lost.
thought. Kansas,
He
I
looks
would
like
say the
somebody's
same
dog
thing.
on drugs
Texas
and
is
everybody's
different,
laughing at
Florida
it.
is different, but they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions.
gone.
I am a person that believes.
Shook his
And
head
frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother.
As it
I think it's
should
very
have been.
important. Some people don't.
As it
Follow your
should be.
heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible
Exactly.
thing, what you've done.
And you tell me,
The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor, and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help.
Fuck?
The idea that
just say?
states are able to do this is a little like saying,
What?
How dare you
let's
assume
turn
that
civil
gender on
rights
my
back to the
doctor?
states. But each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in.
Yeah.
You talk about that. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters.
Just like he raped his daughter.
It's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same
crap.
people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place
Look at him,
anywhere
look
in
at
the
him,
world.
look at him.
Considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing.
So
as far as
lost.
the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted. including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have. Everybody wanted brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar.
Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg wanted it back to the
abortion,
states.
President Biden, 7 states. I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision.
Nothing close to what Trump said.
Where's
the all over the place.
That's what you're going to do.
What the fuck?
And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run,
completely viable
after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down.
It's clear, Joe.
What to do with it? So he's
close your mouth, Joe. Flies are getting in.
We say rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true.
It is absolutely true.
That's not the circumstance.
New York tried to do it.
She's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative numbers.
It wasn't law.
Takes credit for taking
it wasn't codified law.
What's he going to do? What's he
going to do? It was a statute.
If the MAGA Republicans,
by the way, Rumble is crashed.
And the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on
like
abortion.
The entire site is crashed
across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
I'll drink to that.
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages.
Oh, he's going to go there.
That's another drink right there.
Here we
That's
go.
not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that
tomorrow are
now
going to be hard.
we're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border legally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
Survey says.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you,
caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything across the border is one who came along and killed three, under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration.
Oh,
killed
God, here we
3
go.
American
Here we go.
Soldiers, killed 3 American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorists ever got through, but the idea
What the?
they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people.
He
That's
just
simply
lost
not
all
true.
of
There's no
America.
data to support
Even
what he said.
Democrats are
Once
like,
again,
what?
He's exaggerating. He's lying.
President Trump, topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation.
Where's the plumbing
operation in
issue
American
now?
history, unquote. Does that mean that you will
Is it gonna
deport
rain?
every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge
true, he
impact
did.
on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including
Same dead look.
hundreds of thousands of people dying, and
Where you going,
also
Joe?
killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother.
Look at his face. Look at
He
his
just had the
face.
funeral for this girl,
Yes,
12
one
years
look.
old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally
Is he going to
an
attack him?
uncivilized country now.
I
He doesn't want
think
it
he
to be.
wants to
just
throw a
doesn't
chair
know.
at him.
He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast, because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in.
President
And it's a
Biden?
very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one.
Oh,
Veterans are a hell of a
oh,
lot better off. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their
He won't
families
look
have
at
it
him.
because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And he
burn
opposed,
pits.
his group opposed
I
that.
bet he tries
Also
to
a
actually go over and
situation
take a swing
where-
before this is done.
Great respect for veterans.
Take up back to shit.
My son spent a year in Iraq,
Oh God, here we go.
living in
Oh,
France
shit.
for D-Day.
He really
Jeez,
went there.
Louise.
Spoke all about those heroes that died.
He's lost it.
I went to the World War II cemetery.
France and
World War I
D-Day.
cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
Oh, here we go.
First of
Here
all,
we go.
that was a made-up quote.
Here we
Suckers
go.
and losers.
Hey.
They made it up. It was
Hit
in
him.
a third-rate
Hit him.
magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up.
Biden's
and he
beating
brought it up.
himself.
There's nobody that's
Thanks,
taken better care
hopelessly.
of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking, the same thing. 51 one intelligence agent
Look at
said
Biden.
that
He's not
the
even sure what's
laptop
made up
was
or
Russia
not.
disinformation. It
Is
wasn't.
it true?
It came from his son
He's
Hunter.
lost.
Is that true?
It wasn't Russia
I'm
disinformation.
confused.
He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
Four-star
He's going to
General
start talking
Sandy
like
Side was on
Scooby-Doo.
your
Watch.
staff who said you said it. Period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line.
Oh, here we go.
We've done
Here we
more for
go.
veterans than any president has in American history.
No, they have
American
not.
history. And they now
He's
are
not
the
even
only-
close.
That's
the
a
only sacred
fucking lie.
obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's
I
what
don't-
we're doing. That's what the
I don't
VA
think he
is
looked
doing
at him
now.
yet.
They're doing
No,
more for
no, they're not.
veterans than ever before in our history.
No,
All
and he
right,
won't.
Thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with
Because
Russia's war
Those are the
against
intelligent
Ukraine,
enemies right
which
there.
is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander in chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. Every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact that
Malarkey. I'll take a drink to that.
Ran American troops caused damage for a number of these
Okay,
troops.
gotta take
And
another
he
one.
did nothing about it. Not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place.
Just headaches?
Number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to encourage him. Do whatever you want. And he went in. Listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? As part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Thousands of troops. 500,000
It's right here.
troops.
President
right
Trump,
here.
I
I
come
never
back
said
to you
that.
for
And
1
then what
minute.
is
I just
this?
wanna go back to
my name's
Well,
Reality,
tab right
Biden.
there.
Have we met?
Are Putin's
Right?
terms acceptable to you? Keeping the
No, they're
territory
not
in Ukraine.
acceptable. No, they're not
Look
acceptable.
at Joe's right ear.
But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given
face is
$200
gonna be
billion.
memed.
That's a lot of money. I don't think there's
Look
ever
at
been
him.
anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war And we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece of all of Ukraine.
He's not made that clear anywhere.
And then you think he'll stop there?
Lie.
You think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think
Complete lie.
What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says, he walks away. By the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
No, they haven't.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel.
He's no longer crapping his pants. It's all coming out of his mouth now.
Hostages.
He
Among
does
those
run down his
held and
leg.
thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one, everyone from the United Nations Security Council straight through to the G7 to the Israelis and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward, which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas. Number one, they're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened in Israel? We're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world.
I gotta slow down.
And so that's
I gotta stop this game.
Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for what using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent 100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible
look at
job
Biden. He's like, why didn't I think of that?
They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian.
Open genocide.
They don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. You're going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we
need to pull out of NATO.
Yeah, we need to stop that at all costs.
Maybe a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in
NATO was about stopping Russia. Russia's not the problem.
You have continue to go into NATO. We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. See what happens then.
What?
He has no idea.
We're going to
what
start a
he's talking
nuclear war to
about.
prevent a nuclear
And by the
war.
way,
Good
I got
job.
50 other nations around the world who support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. Listen, I think the European nations, because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States, and they were no cars. No, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia, at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And I said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021.
I was trying to talk.
You rallied your supporters that day. Some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now left at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry
of course,
that you'll
Tapper's going to try to focus on it.
I didn't say that to anybody.
Right.
I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor of
is there a statute of limitation for that?
In writing, turned it down. The mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever.
Oh, damn.
And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up to Capitol Hill, number one. I sat in the dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours. 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. You know, they've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. He went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court. And they said, no, this guy this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He
No,
didn't
they
do a
didn't.
damn thing.
The Supreme
And these
Court
people
never
should
said
be in jail,
such.
and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Now you're going to
What
lie
they've
about
done
the
to
bloodbath
some people
statement.
that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When
now
they
he's looking at
ripped
him.
down Portland, when
Right.
they ripped down many other cities. You go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that, they saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing, the Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that,
no
they'd go
persecution
to
for that at all.
President Trump, President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking
There's
at
another one.
right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, to turn over desks, turn them over statues. The idea that those people are patriots, come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon.
because he was
as soon
fucking
as he
kids.
gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo.
I have a sticker for that.
We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir. You want to respond? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president.
He's right.
Spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant?
At least she was an adult and not your child.
You have the morals.
Oh, God, bring it up. Do it, Trump. Bring it. Bring it. I want to hear about Ashley Biden's diary.
Number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam, and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming out. He's got
Spill the beans.
Whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? You ever hear any president say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying
Charlottesville
on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones," he said, "I think they're fine people on both sides." What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches?
Yeah, right. All the talking points tonight, right?
We're fine people. This is the guy who says Hitler's done some good things.
What's up?
I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
Oh, yeah.
President Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on this. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day, it came out where it was fully debunked. It's
Close your mouth,
nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden.
And debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time.
Yeah.
And the idea that somehow that's the only reason.
You know what Democrats
because
said.
I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected.
Right. Listen to the propaganda.
They were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches. Then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all.
A fumble.
And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be
because
right
they're
back with
traitors.
more from the CNN presidential debate.
All right, let Joe get all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Hey, is it me, or does it look like he's concentrating on how to form vowels and consonants?
He can't even do that right now. I mean, let alone close his mouth to breathe through his nose. Today, Junior, you know, he's mumbling.
Chocolate ice cream.
I need to change what I drink off of because he's mumbling his words too much.
When it would have been an absolute home run when Mumbles was talking about the porn star and all that crap. It would have been an absolute home run if President Trump would have said, okay, then let's talk about your daughter's diary. Let's talk about that for a minute.
I I'm thinking the whole key point to this debate right now is what Tucker Carlson did to that one chick who tried to blame him on mass shootings and shit.
Yeah.
Joe is having to explain it to himself. They got to focus in now. They're not just surface bullshit dwellers right now. He has to explain all the bullshit. What he's really about is what Trump is bringing out of him. And I'm telling you, when people figure out what he is really all about, broken down, right? This is it, not this whatever the fuck it is. That he's going to lose. Look, I get it. There's certain levels of woke, and right now
he was losing it.
Right now, I think there's a new generation of woke right now watching this, going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Spaz, what have I said about the people the younger people who are waking up now, or the ones that are waking up now? They're like savage vampires, okay? They just want to go and consume everything, all the knowledge. They want to find all the lies and everything else. These people are savage, okay? The newer generation of people who are waking up to this, they're not just going, oh, well, it's the left versus right and da-da-da-da-da. No. They're fucking going right to the source, man. They are following the money hardcore because they want to figure this shit out because it's been fucking them in the ass for a long, long time, and they're tired of it. And they especially young kids, especially the kids that are 20, 25 years younger than I am. And I'm the youngest person on the panel here. So those kids nowadays, I've been talking to some of those kids, dude. You want to talk about some base savages right there. And the thing is that they've been so like suppressed. They're because they're young. Like, what do you know? You're just a kid. Da, da, da. But what would somebody with gray in their fucking beard starts talking to them? Boom. They kick off like a firecracker, dude. It's amazing to watch this. It's awesome, to be honest.
Suppressed but triggered. You remember that little cage? You set one of them off, and he bounces around, and next thing you know, everything it's great. It's a scientific experiment. It's just that there's going to be a next generation of woke. They're just going to.
I got a challenge for you guys. I got a challenge because I've seen a couple people point it out now. You look at every time he kind of turns his head to the side and looks like he's kind of staring off into space. Try to see if you can see an earbud in him, because I believe he's got an earbud. I think these guys are right. So
check his right ear. Check his right ear. That's why he's turning to the left a lot, or turning to the right, so you can't see his right ear.
Yeah. His right ear is huge.
Black mothers are still
it's got a little flap.
more likely to die
it has a
from
flap on there.
pregnancy-related causes, and Black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to Black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small Black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number
what
two,
the fuck?
The wages of Black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for Black Americans and dealing with the
housing
segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep our people out of their houses.
God, I'll finish my drink.
In addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that Black families have to make relative to childcare is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past,
look at his pupils.
To reduce Black childcare costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for childcare costs.
Biden is supposed to have blue eyes, people. He has black eyes.
Yes. Economic growth because more
look,
people be in the job market.
Just put this full screen.
There's more to be done.
And they both look like they're on green screens.
Done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds.
Oh, there is a bit of a fuzz.
Yeah.
Voters who are disappointed with the
both of them.
Is that the lighting?
Being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly.
I think it is
for
green
example,
screen.
I provided for the idea that
that's what it looks like.
Family first-time home buyer should get a $10,000 tax
I can
credit
see
Observation.
light.
to be able to
I
buy
can see
their
light on his
first home,
shoulders, but
so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a
everything behind
situation
him
where
is.
all those black families and those black individuals
Look
are
at Joe's
provided to have to take out
our
student
right, his
loans,
left
that were
of his face.
ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having
And
to
when
do
he
with
when he
volunteerism,
moves like
if they
this,
paid their bills for 10
you can
years,
see the frame
their
rate.
student debt, all the rest is
The
forgiven
frame
after
rate's
10
pretty
years.
low.
Millions of
I don't know if
individuals.
that's you,
Look at
Pete,
his
but
right ear.
They
Look
do
at
a
his
whole
right
lot
ear.
more black families.
Right here.
Thank you, President Trump.
In this
And he
this area,
caused
the
the
tragus,
inflation.
right? This
He's
is called the
blending
tragus right
inflation.
here.
Yeah.
Look in that
And he's
area.
right. It's been very bad. He
Yeah.
caused the inflation. and
his
it's killing black
eyebrows aren't the
families and
same.
Hispanic families and just
W-
about
one's like
everybody. It's
tucked
killing
and
people. They can't
sticking
buy
out.
groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled.
Does that hair look real?
They can't live. They're
Yeah.
not living
The
anymore.
lighting doesn't
He
even seem
caused this
right.
inflation.
It's-
I
same.
gave him
What
a
the
country
fuck?
with
I never
no,
knew
essentially
putting
no
this on the
inflation.
big
It was
screen.
perfect. It was so good. All he had to do was leave it alone.
Good call, Spaz.
He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden.
There was no inflation when I became
What?
president. The economy was flat on its back. 50% unemployment. He decimated
turtle?
the economy. Absolutely decimated the economy.
And,
That's why there was no
like Mitch
inflation
McConnell,
at the time. There were no jobs. Provided
the world's
thousands
oldest
of
voter.
millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities.
You know what?
We
I'm
made sure
not
that they
sorry,
had
doll,
health
for
insurance.
talking over this
We had
fucking shit.
covered with the ACA.
This
Not
is-
him. No.
We made sure that
But look,
there's
Trump doesn't need the
$8,000
debate.
per person in the family.
No.
The only reason
He
we're
does-
watching this is
But this
because
doesn't
we
even
need.
be there.
We-
He wants to
He doesn't
throw the
even have to
ACA
say
again.
anything. You just sit
And
there
they're
and
gonna
not
try
look
again
at Joe
if we
Biden.
need. We find ourselves in a position where the idea that
He's
we're not
finding
doing it,
himself
let's
in a
put
position
more-
for sure.
We put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants
What
to cut
more
the cops.
police?
We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but inflation
Equity
caused
for a shot so they can get going on.
by his
Oh, sweet
tremendous,
Jesus.
That's right.
strong
Write that
business and
down.
way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another
Take that
persistent
to the
challenge
bank.
is the climate crisis. 2023 was
Climate
the hottest
crisis.
year in recorded history, and communities across
We don't know how we're
going
going to eat, but
the devastating
what's the
effects
weather
of
tomorrow?
extreme heat,
or next 10
intensifying
years, right?
wildfires, stronger
It's hot.
hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police
Amen.
group. And what he's done to the black population
Really?
is horrible.
How
including
dare
the
you
fact
say
for
that
10
out
years he
loud?
called them super
Look at his
predators.
face.
In the 1990s. We can't forget that. Super predators was his name.
Is that
And he
true?
called it to him.
That's
And
got to
they've
be a
taken
mask.
I just
great
farted.
offense at it.
Oh.
And now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal
Oh
justice
man, it's running down my
reform
right
and for the
leg.
historically
That's
Gotta
got to be
shake
a
it off.
mask.
colleges and universities
Jeez Louise.
where I funded them and got
Can
them
we
all
all look
funded,
at that neck?
and the opportunity zones with Tim. As
Can you
know,
see
Tim
underneath
Scott
the
was
ear?
incredible. He did a great job.
Right,
Great
like
senator
into
from
it.
South Carolina.
What's that
It was the
underneath the
idea. It
ear?
was a great idea. It's one of the most successful.
What's that
economic
line
development
coming out of
efforts
his ear?
ever in the country? Opportunity zones.
What is that?
And the biggest
He
touched
beneficiary
his
are
face
blacks,
and then he turned
that's
away.
Why we have
What's
the
going
best
on,
numbers with
man?
them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population.
Is Trump
Because he's
saying?
done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people
His eyes are different.
pouring into our country.
Not the
and they're
ones
gonna
that are
take the
pouring in the
jobs.
country.
And it's
He hasn't
already
done bad
started,
for them.
And you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
You 38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air. And we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever. And we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me
Flint,
that
Michigan.
statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he
Where you
says
been,
is
Joe?
true. I've passed the most
There's a cough.
extensive climate change legislation in history.
Yeah.
We find
Yeah.
ourselves, and by the way, black
You're
colleges.
taxing us.
I
Got it. Yeah.
came up with $50 billion for HBCUs, historic
Fucking
black
drink to that.
universities and colleges, because they don't have
More
they
taxes.
don't have the kind of
Tax money fixes
contributors
everything.
that
15 billion
we
for the
have.
HBC, not for the
Yes.
border though, right?
Laboratories and all
Yep.
that. Any black student is capable in college.
More money
of
for
doing any
climate
way
change.
they
That's
can do.
there's
They
still
just have the
people over
money
here
now to be able to
without
get
power.
those jobs.
Black
and
kids can't go
quality.
to school
But
because of
it's
climate
just
change.
where
Oh, they don't know what a
Right.
computer is.
He's
What are you talking about?
claiming to have done something. to have clean
I saw
water,
one
Trannies,
clean
riding down the
trannies
street
have
on
to
his
be
bike,
protected
looking at his
because of
phone.
out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately
There's
joined
another
it.
one.
We
Because
we
if
have
we
to kill
reach
all white
1.5
people to fix
degrees
climate.
Celsius at any one point, there's no way back.
Apparently,
The only
right.
existential threat to humanity.
They
is
actually said
climate
that at
change.
the World
And he
Economic
didn't do a
Forum.
damn thing about
Yeah,
it.
I've
Wants
heard
to
that
do
several
all that
times.
I've done.
We must kill all the babies
The
too.
Paris
So-
Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion.
We must eat the babies.
Yes.
And China
Yeah.
nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It
Yeah,
was
the
a
Paris
ripoff
Accord
of
is
the United
bullshit.
States. And I ended it because I didn't
Yep.
want to
Yep.
waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying.
Joe
into
doesn't
it.
know how to use
And
a
it was
calculator.
it was
That's the issue.
disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before.
Joe's
insulin.
calculator's in his
I'm the one
pocket.
that got the insulin
But he
down
can
for
doodle,
seniors.
that's for
I
sure. He
took
can
care of
draw
this for years.
pictures.
What he's doing is destroying all of our
Oh,
medical
it's not there
programs
anymore. It's
because
gone.
the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And
I
I want
bet.
to take care of people. But we're
I've seen it.
destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Yep.
Okay.
On
That's twice
purpose.
he's
That's the
The
plan.
idea
he's
is
said that.
we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence.
Oh,
We're not.
jeez.
We're not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to? The United States can't get this under control. One of
What the fuck
largest
did he
polluters
just
in the
say
world,
again?
Number one, we're making
How do you
significant
vote for
progress.
that?
By 2035, we will have pollution in half. We have made significant progress, and we continue to make progress. We set up a
What?
climate corps. There's thousands of young people will learn how
What?
to deal with climate, just like Peace Corps. And we're
What
gonna-
book is he
we're
reading?
moving in
Like-
directions that are going to significantly
Like the
change
brown shirts
the
and the
elements of cause of
Nazi
pollution.
youth?
But the idea
All right.
that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen
Yeah, yeah.
any indication of that. And by the way,
What
with regard
the?
to prescription drugs,
That was
one
good.
company agreed that they
believes
would reduce the price to $35,
Trump wants to,
which
but
I was calling
he just-
for one.
There's no
voluntarily.
evidence.
I made
Yeah,
sure
that was good.
every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way,
So every day, millions
Yeah,
of
that's it.
Americans.
And
struggle
by the way,
to
what?
make
What,
ends
Joe?
meet.
By the way, what?
Older Americans,
You can shut up
Social
now.
Security
Yeah.
provides a critical lifeline. President
That's
Biden,
the
if
second
nothing
time I
is
know
done
they
to
saved him.
Social Security seniors will see their benefits
By
cut
the way.
in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step
That's a
you're willing
nice
to
yellow
take
polka
to
dot
keep
sign.
Social
Now his
Security
eyes
healthy?
are blue
Yes,
and
thank
their
you very
pupils
well.
are very
and
small.
to pay their fair share.
Yep.
Right now, everybody
Look at
making
them
under
pinpoints.
$170,000 pays 6%
Right? They're just like Trump's
their
pinpoints now.
of their paycheck
Is
every
he-
single time they get a paycheck.
Is he
Look at-
turning
look
into
at-
a lizard?
From 18 years
Look
old.
at Trump's pupils
look at this.
versus Biden's pupils.
I'm proposing that everybody, they pay, the millionaires pay 1%.
As far as I know, Trump
1%.
took a drug
No one
test.
I would not raise the
Yeah.
cost of
Biden,
Social
but look how
Security
much
for anybody
smaller Biden's
under
pupils are. He
Right.
wired out
After
his
that, it
skull.
began to make the wealthy
Shouldn't they be
began
under
to
the
pay
same
their fair
light?
share.
And so
And
shouldn't their
appreciate
eyes
the
react
one
the same?
beyond
Exactly.
I'm
guaranteed
just saying.
program for-
I'm saying, not saying. I'm
So you
saying.
still have
I
82
can see
seconds
the
left.
light
Are there
in
any
Joe's
other
eyes.
measures
I
that you
can't see
think
the
that
light
would
in
be able
Trump's
to
eyes.
help,
His-
keep Social Security solvent,
his
or is it
eyebrows
just
Yeah,
are
about
flat
but you
when
can
I
see
see
the
that.
you can see the
that one
pupils.
Keep it solid, but the
Yeah.
biggest thing I'll do
Yeah,
They're
the black
focused
part of the
now.
eye.
because he wants to get rid
Right.
of
Joe,
Social
Trump's are
Middle.
larger than
He thinks
Joe's.
there's
Joe's are.
plenty to cut in Social Security.
Yeah,
He wanted
Joe's
to cut Social Security
pinpoint,
and Medicare.
Trump's like
Both
half
together.
his
And
iris.
that's what,
Is
and if
a,
you look at
And you would
the
think that
program put
they're on the
forward
same
by
stage.
the House
Yeah,
Republicans
but
They
look
would
at
have
that
their,
neck.
the
He
people
finds
reaction would be the same on the
supports.
same light.
He's, in fact,
see Trump's
supported
neck?
as well. The idea that We don't
You know, with old
need
people,
to protect our
sometimes
seniors.
when you live with them every day,
We put
Why
you
why
notice,
is Trump
you
like
notice,
this?
you notice the neck
in
changes.
Oh,
public
that hurts
that
my
But
better healthcare coverage today than ever
but
before.
that
And when
cleft
they see, as I
that
said, we're in a
Trump
circumstance
has,
where
no
400,000
mask
people,
can do that. I
40
don't
40
think.
million
Night in
people
China
do not have
Right,
insurance
but
because they have a
hangs
pre-existing
like a sleeve
condition.
of a wizard.
but
Only allows them to
well,
have that
it
insurance
hangs
is
like
the fact that they in fact are
you
part
know
of the
what he'd
VA.
grab something
And
by.
by the
But I
way, the
mean,
other thing is,
if
we're
you
in a
look at it
situation
right
where I
above the
talked
tie,
about
come on,
education
man.
for Black communities.
I've seen his face thinner last week.
The amount of money for Pell
Right,
Grants,
it's
another
when you reach a
$1,000. Anybody
certain age,
making
your
under
neck
$70,000 a
changes
year is going to be able
day
to
to
It does.
day. I live with my
$15,000
dad. I
towards
know he's
tuition.
not wearing a mask. It's my dad.
You
It's
just
a
don't know what
real
I'm talking about.
person. I've been
Thank you,
living with him
President Biden.
for a long
President
time.
So I've dealt
His
with
neck
politicians
changes all the
this-
time.
all my life. I've been on
All the
this side
time.
of the equation for the last 8 years.
Sometimes it hangs.
I've never
Sometimes
seen
it's
anybody
tight.
lie
It's
like
like
this guy. He lies.
I don't know
I've
what to
never
tell
seen
you.
him.
I've
He can
never
look you in
seen
the
anything
face.
like that. But
About so many other things.
It's real.
Joe has been a
We
liar
mentioned the
for
laptop, we
51
mentioned
years.
Russia.
yeah, but look at that. He's looking down.
Everything he does
You,
is a
you
lie.
see how
It's
you see how his
misinformation
neck
and
bunches up.
disinformation.
Yeah.
The
Look at how
losing
his neck bunches up.
Zucker story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a
A
disgrace.
mask can't
Social
bunch up
Security,
like Trump.
He's
Oh no, I
destroying it
agree.
because millions of people are pouring into our country. And
Look
they're
at those
putting them onto
lines while
Social
he's looking
Security,
down.
they're
He's
putting
got,
them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our
and now
hospitals.
that's gone.
They're
The line
taking the
is,
place of our citizens there.
come
What
on,
they're doing
man.
to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street,
Homeless
and
veterans
these people
should
are
not
living in
exist.
luxury hotels.
Yep.
He doesn't
Precisely.
know what he's doing.
Hi,
And
April.
it's really coming back. I've had anger in our country before.
I'm not in the chat.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans
She just
are not
popped
being
up.
taken care of. I told you before. By the way, when I said suckers and losers, he said he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one who's wrong. But that's what
Right,
he
because
said.
he was
the one standing
incompetent.
with Trump when he said it. Number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better
Wait.
than any other nation in the world.
Huh?
And by the way,
Is it because
those
of
15 Nobel laureates you talked about,
the
being
border?
funded, those 15 Nobel laureates,
drink again.
economists, they all
Is that what
said
he's
that
implying?
if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession. And
We're
inflation's
better off
gonna
because of the
increase as well.
border?
And by the way, worst president
Yep.
in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden,
Oh,
thank you so much. Let's turn to the
sounds
cost
like
of child
51
care, which
former
many American
CIA
families struggle to
analysts,
afford.
fucking
President Trump,
Russia,
both you
Russia,
and
Russia.
President Biden
Right. So
have
the
tried to
the,
address
the,
this
the
issue.
laptop from
The
hell
average
was
cost
fake.
of child care in this country
Everything
has
was
risen to more
fake.
than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
His tie does not
I
match
just feel
his
like
handkerchief.
the general got fired because he was no good.
But that's
And if
still
he
a
said
good
that,
time.
that's why he made it up. But we
I
have
like that
19
tie.
people that said I didn't say
No,
it,
it's a
and they're
shitty
very
tie.
highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is
Joe's got a shitty tie.
he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire.
He should have worn
anybody.
a
I did fire
corn
lot. I
a
fired
cornmeal
Coleman 'cause he
blue
was no good.
tie.
I fired a lot of the top people at the
What is
in
he
the
scratching
swamp.
at?
They were no
What did he
good.
just scratch
He
at?
doesn't fire people. They pay a price.
That was in his
But
right
they were
ear.
no good. I inherited
What was
these
that?
people. I didn't put them. Would call me there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that the Afghanistan horror show.
No, we should have
the most
fired him.
embarrassing moment in the history. of
We
our
should have
country.
fired the guy.
He didn't fire. Did he fire anybody? Did
No.
you fire
Sure.
anybody
Down
that's on
over
the
here.
border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get
Did it get
fired
cut
for
off?
allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions?
18
Did you fire anybody
million
that allowed
people.
our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you
Now
and I
he's
sit
looking
up
at him.
here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the
Right.
worst president. He just said about me
Right.
because I said it. But look, he's
Look at
the
me.
worst
I'm the
president
debater
in the
now.
history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen. If he wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We're the most admired country in the world. We're the United States
No, we're
of
not.
America. There's nothing beyond our
No, we're not.
capacity. We have the finest
Why is
military
Trump's
history in the
hair
world,
different on
the
one
finest
side
in
than the
history
other?
of the world.
Why is it
Why are
flat
they
on
not?
No one
top?
thinks we're weak. No one.
Well, he's
thinks
he's
we're
he's been
nobody.
balding for quite a
Number one.
while, and
It's a
he
green
doesn't.
screen.
Idea that
He
we're
needs
talking
to
about
shave
worst
his head
president.
and grow
I
a
wasn't
beard.
joking.
I'm just
Look
saying,
it up and go
Ooh.
online. 159.
Right?
58, don't hold the exact number.
right? Viking Trump. I would vote for Viking
Had
Trump.
meetings and they voted. Who was
It
the
would
worst
hide
president
that
in American history?
natural neck
Best
line.
to the worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. You can
It's
argue
a
they're
fact
wrong, but
because
that's what
somebody
they
else
voted.
said it, so it must be true.
Can we fact check Joe Biden?
Out there.
Snope says.
Out there. We should significantly increase childcare
Exactly.
tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses
Don't say women and men.
to have
Thank you, President
childcare
Biden.
facilities.
President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make childcare more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they
Yes.
rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created
smile
an
of
economy
evil.
like us. Nobody ever cut taxes
there.
like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life,
He's
I
thinking this
grow
dude's corn
up
pop.
and I see
He's a bad
politicians
dude.
talking about cutting taxes.
He's
When we
looking
cut
at him like,
taxes, as I said,
I want
He's
to
we
laughing
had
from
more
corn
business.
pop.
Apple and all
stab
these
you with my
companies,
pledge
they were
pin.
bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Well, the matter is that he's dead wrong about. He's increased the tariff. He will increase the taxes on middle class people.
What?
I said I
What?
never raised a tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. This tariff is 10%
What?
tariffs. Income country. You know what that
Yeah,
gonna say?
my rent went up.
American,
That's a tax for me.
$2,500 a year. Because they have to pay
Oh
the
my gosh.
food. The things that are very important.
Hell,
Number two, he's in
How
a
is he even
situation where
saying?
he talks about how he has not raised, he somehow helped the middle class. Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you,
We're at the
President Biden.
highest. We lost
Thank you,
100%.
President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans.
Are you
Both of you have
kidding
made
me?
a top priority in your first term.
it's not even
the
close.
opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite
didn't he
the efforts
eat
that
at
both
that
of you have
Chinese
made,
place
more than
that
100,000
no other
Americans are dying
president
from
has
overdoses
eaten at?
every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country in every way. And then we had to get tough, and it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot, and we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low, because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways, but the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen, at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him, because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
Fentanyl and the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl. These big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border.
Malarkey.
And it costs a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together. It's a bipartisan deal. More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border.
Why are more people dying, Joe?
He called his Republican colleagues and said, don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically. No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines. We need those machines. And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl.
What machines?
And Mexico
Joe?
is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about.
I think he's referring to the voting
Americans in the throes of
machines.
addiction right now, struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage, we always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say a hostage. Now we have a hostage,
$6 billion.
the Wall Street Journal reporter, I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars.
We didn't even pay for the right hostage.
Reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago. But Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where we paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized as being
Lying.
the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3
And
years
he
younger,
lied the
a lot
entire
less
time.
confident.
Got in trouble for it
Look
the
at-
entire
just look at the
time.
record. Look at what I've done. Look, I've turned around the horrible situation you left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more
I
investment.
thought it was
in America,
13, not 15.
over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing.
That's the sound of you getting
By the
fucked
way,
in the
we brought an
face.
awful lot of people. Well,
I do
the
not like
whole
my face
idea
fucked.
of computer chips. We used to have 40% of the market.
Fuck
We
Joe
invented those
Biden.
chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas
Okay.
and to bring home a product. So I went to South Korea.
No, he wasn't,
I
actually.
convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States, and guess what? Those fabs they call that to build these chips, those fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them, and there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
Like that
President
cobalt
Biden,
Where?
plant,
40 seconds
making all
left.
that
Would you like
money
to add anything?
from those
Yeah,
Where?
potato
The
farmers in
idea that
Idaho.
somehow
Is that what you're talking about, Joe?
The bus boy,
Never heard
the
of
waiter, the person at McDonald's.
We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president wouldn't trade places with the United States.
I
of
heard
America.
Burger King's going to
All our
shut down
problems
like
are all cheap.
thousands of
We're
stores.
the most progressive country in the
Over
world.
next
over
year.
over
We're the
100
strongest country in
stores
the world.
by next year,
We're a country in
easily.
the world who keeps our
That's
word.
Burger
And
King,
everybody
man.
trusts us. All of our allies and our
Now you can't get your Whopper your way, I guess.
Flame broiled, bro.
Kim Jong Un, we sent
I guess.
love letters to, and Putin, etc. They don't
We
want us to
saw
go
eat
around
healthy
this.
anyway.
Thank you. Former President Trump, to follow up, you would be 82 at the end of your second term. What do you say to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him
Biden
take one,
hasn't
just
taken
one,
any?
a real easy one. Like go through the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter.
Dog
but
face
I'm in
pony
as
liar,
good a
right?
shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel
Thank
the
you,
same.
Zombie.
But I was willing
Absolutely.
to take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200.
Oh, we heard him.
That's what you're, anyway, just take a look.
We heard
at
him
his
even
photo.
though this mic is
Take a look at
muted.
his-
Yep, we heard
Look,
him.
I'd be happy to have a driving contest.
I'm sorry to talk like
I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And well, by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was at 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
I had, you know,
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
What the fuck is he talking about?
President Trump, we're going to
21
turn
Let's not act like children.
You
to
are
a
a child.
specific concern that voters have about you. Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now, any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to. And I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president. I would rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. The only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president that I'm going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're
Just what he said on
Amen.
Oprah's
We're
show.
a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so
Look at
That
Biden.
asshole.
his military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III, and he's driving us there. And Kim Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, all of these, Putin, they don't respect him. They don't fear him. They have nothing going with this gentleman, and he's going to drive us into World War III.
You want a World War III, let him follow and win, and let Putin say, do what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is attack on all, a required response. The idea. I
Look at
can't
him,
think of a
look at him.
single major leader in the world.
Look at them pinpoints.
trade places with the job I've done, what they've done, because we are a powerful nation. We have wonderful people. It's because of the people, not me. It's because of
Reminded me of the
people.
poltergeist
They
guy.
take of anything and they step up when they're needed. And right now,
You
we're
do?
needed. We're needed to
I've
protect
thought
the
that for a
world,
long time. Give
protect
him that
our own
flat
Dog
top hat.
shit.
And again, we
He
want to
said
have
the
war.
people.
Just let Putin go ahead and take key.
He remembers
make
us.
Sure they move on. See what happens in
He don't
Poland, Hungary,
fucking listen to
and other
us.
places
That was a
along
slip.
that border. Then you have a war.
President
Jeez
Trump,
Louise.
as I come back to you for a follow-up, the question was, will you accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins?
Just to finish what he said, if I might, Russia, they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from Obama and Biden. They took no land, nothing from Trump, nothing. He knew not to do it. He's not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me. And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this with? He's got us in such a bad position right now with Ukraine and Russia, because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're running out of people. They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never
Joe's so
attacked
mad he can shit.
if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you
Oh,
accept the
we're
results
almost
of the
done,
election,
actually.
regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
Well, let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continue to appeal to
I
courts all
love
across
it.
the country.
Yeah, win on the points, got to go to name calling.
Said any of your claims had any merit.
He's a real
State or
Democrat.
local, none.
Oh my
But
gosh.
you continue
This
to
is
provoke
great comedy.
this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation.
I think they're
all
letting
this
Biden
stealing.
die
There's
because
no
they plan on
evidence of that at
replacing him.
all.
I-
And
No
I'll tell you
evidence.
what, I doubt
We'll
you'll
talk
accept it
about that
because
after
you're
the
such a
show,
whiner.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Your idea, if you lose again, you accept anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
We'll be right back with more
Yep.
from the CNN.
That's the end.
Right. Rev. Okay, so I are listening to this so far.
Wow.
Here's my theory so far. Is that
from Georgia.
because the Democrats have nothing to offer Americans
Nothing,
in any way,
nothing.
shape, or form.
Fuck
Nothing.
Trump.
And
That's
they
it.
need to these people are so endowed with pride and self glorification that they need to be able to save face somehow. So how are they going to save face? At this point, the switcheroo it makes a lot of sense right now. If they're going to either that, or they're just letting this blimp slowly burn as it crashes into the ground, and then these people they have nothing else afterwards because it's crazy.
I do believe that Biden was their patsy from the beginning. He has no idea his entire political career he's been used as a patsy. Like
A liar.
yeah, but
Yes.
the point is
liar.
He's there for a signature. Like they've controlled him and manipulated him from all the way back since the day I was born. Biden has been in office since the day I was born.
Yes.
And they've used him because they see that he's so corrupt. He's a pedophile. He's a thief. He's everything.
He lies.
Right. So they've used that to control him, to blackmail him, to manipulate him, to bribe him,
Yep.
whatever they needed along the way. And he's been nothing but
Sure
that.
have.
And now that they're done with him, they're going to do all of this garbage, try to destroy the world, and they're going to put it on his name. The only thing is though, they didn't realize that they were burning the entire Democrat brand while they were doing it. They thought they could just say, "Oh, it's all because of Biden," but they burnt the entire Democrat brand. Democrats are all saying, because here's the one thing that I hear from everybody that I hear, about flipping sides, Democrats starting to vote Trump, is they're all saying the same thing. Democrats. They're not saying Biden. They're saying the entire Democrat Party. Look at that interview with Jillian Michaels. She says the same thing. The Democrats are pure evil. This is a chick that's been full retard progressive her entire life. And now she's coming out and saying, Democrats are too evil for me. I have to walk away. She's leaving California. She's leaving the Democrat Party, all of it because of that. And to me, that's astounding because, like I said, this lady is not, and there's a lot of them, but this lady is not like an old school Kennedy Democrat. This is a progressive, full retard Democrat that's saying the Democrat parties are too. Even we were talking earlier about the Raging Cajun. The same thing. He's screaming. This guy is an over the top progressive retard, and he's saying, "Oh my God, you guys are killing everything. What are you doing?" So I think we're gonna see it.
I always revert back to the computer analogy because I can build them, I can make them run. Anyway, you understand? You have so much processing power, you have so much memory, you have so much library, and back in the day, some people they didn't have enough processors.
Begin with you, President Biden.
I'm sorry. Here we go again.
We've made significant progress.
Is that a different suit?
From the debacle, although
it looks so black.
It's very, very black.
Why are we skipping?
I ask anyone out there in the audience or anyone out in the debate, do you think this is fair? The fact that I said that nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes and will not. And if I'm reelected, that'll be the case again.
That's a lie.
This guy
400,000 what?
Your taxes because of the deficit.
My property taxes went up $300.
Increased inflation because of the debacle.
Yeah, a lot more than that.
After the way he handled the pandemic. And
my property taxes more than tripled.
You have a lot more stuff than I do.
Wants to tax you
yeah,
more.
But still, percentages, mine tripled. In the state of Florida, the best economy in the United States.
The ability
property tax shouldn't exist
to be able to negotiate drug prices
precisely
with pharma companies. Well, guess what?
But there's a reason it does. There's a reason it does.
$35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000.
We're actually talking about something. I don't know what the fuck this asshole is talking about.
How much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion.
We did not
because the
reduce the federal debt at all.
I'm going to make that available to
at all.
Not even slightly.
All along, it's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure.
No, it's F-15s, not F-16s.
Credits people have for child
F-15s.
We're going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever.
Or Hawaii.
Again, Ukraine should have never happened.
No money for
He
Hawaii.
talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell.
Mention
We have
Hawaii,
the
Trump. Come on.
Palestinians, and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president. And they don't.
He don't respect him
you
either.
throughout the
He's
world.
not even looking at him.
What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, right to travel.
And the tax cuts got more jobs going.
Materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves.
That part's true.
And they're living. And
That
that's
part
why
is
I had
true.
the highest approval
I was able to do that.
rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
That was it.
That was it.
What are we switching over to?
That's it.
They're now
Gay-
they're
Gay
they're
Anderson Cooper.
anal-assists. They're gonna
Right.
anal each other now.
So did his
Well,
suit
I
change
don't
or
know if I wanna
what?
watch
Did
that.
Biden's suit change or what?
No, it's always been black. It's always been black.
It's like super black. Why
Yeah.
wear super black? You know what else? He had a
man.
straight. He had a
Okay,
straight.
I want to hear what Pete has to say here because he hasn't said a word through that entire thing. So Pete, I'm gonna mute myself.
No.
Tell me what you think.
And I'm not going to say a whole lot because my voice is gone. That's why I've been keeping quiet. But right now, this very minute, there are dozens of people scrambling to figure out what to do with Joe Biden. This was one of the poorest performances for a president I think I've ever seen. Donald
Jill
Trump
got him.
did exactly what he needed to do. He stayed on point. He didn't get crazy about anything. He answered everything with accurate answers. I'm extremely satisfied with what Donald Trump did. And I think Joe Biden has just lost the election.
You're right.
Not only the
Nice to
election, I think he's going to be, him and Kamala Harris are going to be removed from office. And they're going to run somebody else because they can't put him up against Donald Trump in another debate for any reason.
Nope.
So that's my analysis. If you guys want to talk for a few minutes, go ahead and do that. Then we got to end this because I can't do this anymore.
Pete, we're 2 hours 20 minutes in. Usually, 2 hours.
We're done by now. Yeah.
Usually
Yeah.
we're done by now. Look,
Yeah.
sir. As far as I'm concerned, we already had all the entertainment we need, and we've
I agree.
received all the input we can. We should expect. From
We've extrapolated all the input that could be possibly put in come from at least Joe's side. I mean, it's very clear he stayed with Joe stayed with the talking points, the narrative of CNN and the mainstream media. Trump, my analysis, I think Trump did a decent job at just trying to maintain his composure because a lot of the shit that Joe was saying was a bunch of lies. And everybody, I don't care if you support Trump or you don't support Trump or whatever it is, if you've been paying attention to the news the last 5-6 years, you know that this is a lie. Even if you're a hardcore blue, no matter who, and you've been paying attention. I even though I have my discrepancies against Trump, I can't deny the fact that what he's been saying is there's nothing that he said was inaccurate, because we've all been paying attention, right? I mean, we've all been there. So
watch the Democrat terrorist convention and look for the replacement to happen there.
I believe that's the case.
Yeah.
Thank you, Spaz, for the cans. Appreciate
Pete,
that.
have you been watching? Are you looking at? We have our little private chat on the side here. Have you looked at that lately?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
3,000? Wait, hold on a second. You went from.
We actually just passed 3,200 people on X.
Oh wow, that's great.
That's awesome.
But
within 25 minutes.
Wow.
The debate's over though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now they're just here to hear us.
No, they're just here to hear Reverend rant because he's the one. He's the one gravitating and cultivating.
Oh man, I wish I could be a legend like you. I really wish I could. I'm trying, but
I don't know how I got here.
I just don't have as much metal as you. That's just the truth of it.
Honestly, I think it's because I'm sleeping, and people want to. People want to come in and tickle my nipple while I'm sleeping.
It's the beard. It's the beard.
I'd poke your belly before I tickled your nipple.
Hey, I poke my belly too, but I'm sure it won't feel the same if you do it.
See if you don't go boy.
I can't wait till tomorrow to hear all the There's going to be a lot tomorrow for Friday.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
You can't hide that.
All week, dude. Not tomorrow, just all weekend. It's going to happen all weekend. Is what's going to come out. The entire mainstream media is going to come out for bat for the Biden. This entire
they can't fix this. There's no way that they can fix it.
Now,
they're going to try their hardest. They're going to try their hardest.
Here's the great part: is now the next show, and the next show after that, the next probably 4 or 5 times that we get together, we're going to have so much commentary on the clown show bullshit that's going to come out. We won't even have to talk about regular news. We're just going to be filled with this garbage for a while. And keep in mind, we still have another debate to get through. This was the CNN bullshit version. And I think that Trump, even though he came out and dropped some bombs tonight, I think that Trump still was a little bit reserved. I think that.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I think that after he sees this and he comes out and they do the next debate, I'm hoping that Trump drops the big bombs. I hope that he brings up, Hawaii, brings up Ashley Biden's diary, stuff like that. Like go for the throat, hit the punches. Because this is all factual stuff.
So.
That's not accusation. It's not rhetoric. This is all stuff that's been proved. Ashley Biden has publicly acknowledged the truth of her diary. We've all seen Hawaii. You see what I'm saying? So this is all stuff. And here's the thing is that all of America is tired. We're all tired. I mean, we've all had this conversation a million times. We're tired. We're pissed off. It's like dealing with a bunch of little kids, and it's time to just go ahead and start whipping their asses. And we want to have somebody, because we can't beat on these children ourselves. Yeah. You want to go switch somebody else's kid, and you can't. So finally, when daddy comes in the room and whips his belt off, we're all cheering like, yeah, spank that ass.
Snapping that belt, Oh, God.
Kind of like parents did in the middle of Kmart when I was a kid, and my mom finally started whipping my ass. Parents were standing around cheering, like, get him.
My mom
want to borrow my shoe?
My ass.
Here, you can borrow my shoe too.
My mom beat my ass in the middle of Walmart one time.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I heard claps. And I heard claps.
Yeah.
I was like, I really feel bad. I really messed up now. Strangers are clapping for my mom.
It's worse when other parents are clapping. You know it is.
Yeah, right.
But that's where we're at now.
That's right.
America is starting to realize that all the children that have been having temper tantrums and then sucking their thumbs and crying about it, it's time. We don't care. Because think about it. Any of you that are parents, out there, you know that there's a certain point where those tears don't affect you anymore. That ass is getting stripes on it. It's too late. It's too late for the tears to stop, because that's where we're at now with America, in my humble estimation.
We love your estimation.
Sounds good.
Pete,
right.
Pete, are we ready? Are you
Yes,
ready?
I'm ready.
He's ready to go. He's
I'm
ready to
ready.
go and take medicine and relax.
Yes,
and lay down.
absolutely.
Go,
Look,
pretty much go to bed.
I want to have a voice for tomorrow, to do a
right.
show tomorrow. So
because the bomb went off. The bomb just went off, and there's after effects going to be
The Moab.
yeah,
Fireworks are
Moab
going
we
off where
call
Mayor's at.
Trump.
well,
I'm
let
watching
me
it.
just do this. Let me thank everybody that we're simulcasting to over on X and wherever else, Rumble and wherever else we're on. Appreciate everybody being here.
Amen.
Everybody on Pilled, thank you so much for all the gold pills and just spending the time with me and my crew here. It means a lot to us.
We love you, sir.
I will see everybody tomorrow, hopefully. After I leave this place, I am not speaking until tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys
I'm
being
sure
here.
April will be happy.
God bless
yeah,
you.
I'm sure she will.
And remember, Pete's doing better because prayers work. So Pete's doing better. But I want to
Yeah, keep
remind
praying,
all of
people.
you out there,
That's right.
all of you out there, man. You know
Positive
what?
energy works.
Remember, take a minute, talk to Jesus. Remember to advocate for our good friend. Make sure that we pray for our leaders and everybody that that we need in this nation. And most of all, let's pray for all of humanity, because man, we need it. So
Man.
and don't forget to brush your teeth, because that's important too.
That's very important.
It's
right, so
summertime.
guys-
Drink water and eat some food.
Eventually.
Don't want
But
you falling
don't
out.
drink out of the toilet.
No.
Yes.
No. Just
Okay,
top
so
of
I'm
the
just
toilet.
going to end the stream, and I will see all you guys. I know for sure on Tuesday, but I will see everybody in the chats. Hopefully
and
tomorrow on my
thank
show.
you.
So once again, thank you to everybody, and I will see everybody tomorrow.
Much love,
So,
sir.
Have a great night. Bye bye.